we had 9 individual residents who spoke or asked, had concerns or questions, and each of those were addressed last month and answered last month. So we're not going to go into those again tonight. And we do have about 25 people now that have signed up, so we will need to limit it to 3 minutes. If I mispronounce your name, I apologize beforehand. There's some writing up here I'm not sure I can decipher, but I'll try my best. Jerome Donnell, I think is first one.
Thank you.
I'm Claire Donnell. I'm from Pomona neighborhood. Also one of the co-founders of Villa Vista Heritage.
There you go.
I'm also one of the co-founders of Villa Vista Heritage Group. So last month I asked a question about Mr. Brandenburg, and you all said that he didn't do anything wrong. Is that correct?
We addressed that last month. We gone through the procedure and found that he was inappropriate, he did not admit it.
Okay, so why did he apologize?
Because he, at this point, felt that it was necessary for some of the people to be apologized.
Okay.
Sometimes we apologize for people, other people as well.
Okay. How long would you allow somebody to spend your money and take out loans without finding a different direction to go in? I'm asking the question.
I'd say no comment unless you cite something specific that we
Well,
looked at.
specifically $800,000 loan that we shouldn't be having to take out.
What specific topic are you talking about?
Has the board and Mr. Justin taken out an $800,000 loan from the water department? I'm sorry?
Dwayne's going to take care of that.
Wayne is our treasurer. Okay.
I've got one over here too.
We can stop my clock real quick. There you go.
Testing one here. Well, keep in mind that the water and the POA are one entity at the end of the year. Going back over 2 decades, at times when cash was tied on the POA side or on the water side, funds have been borrowed. In every instance, these funds have been repaid with interest. At the time, the POA owes $800,000 to the water department, which is clear on the balance sheet. These funds were used to supplement our recent cash expenditures. The borrowing of funds at this time was anticipated 12 months ago. When I put the budget together, I planned to borrow $2.7 million, and it was pretty clear even to the board and to the public at that time that we could.
At what interest?
At 5%, we did it Wall Street or
5% interest that we're having paid out because you guys can't manage
We
a
paid it to
budget.
ourselves.
We're paying it to
We
ourselves.
paid it to ourselves.
We're paying it. It's a shortfall. You can't say that, hey, we can take out a loan, we're okay. It's 5% interest loan we're having to pay back. Besides the point. If I can I see everybody's hands that's opposed to the trails? Adamantly opposed to the trails. If you will all look around and notice that most people are not opposed to the trails. Now let me see the hands of the people that are opposed to doing things irresponsibly and without membership's approval.
Did we get to ask how many people were in favor of the trails?
Yes, I did. By saying opposed, I don't have to ask who's in favor of it, because obviously that's in favor of it.
Some could be.
How are you neutral? You're either one or the other. That's fine. So the point is that membership is concerned about your all's decision making. And we voice that concern, but yet 0 people are saying, listen, we understand your concerns. We're going to try to do something different. Let's figure out something together. But you all just go on down the road, and we're not going to do anything because we made that decision to the best of our ability, but now we have concerns, and nobody wants to listen. Nobody. Let me ask you another question real quick, and I'll be done with my questions. if you're losing $100,000 on something, when do you start reevaluating whether that's going to be profitable or not? If you're $100,000 over budget, which you already said you're going to have losses on a restaurant, when do you start to sit down and go, okay, we're not quite on track, we need to make sure that we're not going to sink in another $3 million into something we're already losing money on?
Before we started that, we gave target
I'm
dates.
not asking that. I'm asking, when would you reevaluate if you're well under budget or well over budget of what you're doing?
Since we've set target dates, I would guess that we would do it after the third year. and
Right,
then
so
say
three
whether
years.
Or not.
And this is the reason why you're having to borrow $800,000 from the water department at 5%. Thank you very much.
Well, Natasha Grant, is that correct? Yes. Just pull it out. Just pull it out, it's fine.
Sorry.
You speak right into it.
Okay. My name is Natasha Brand. I'm a fellow Vista trail user.
Speak up a little more.
Do a bit more?
Yeah, a little more.
Okay, yeah, I'm a fellow Vista resident and I'm a regular trail user. I just wanted to address some concerns about the trail tonight. I'm actually a researcher for the University of Arkansas in outdoor recreation and sustainability, and we've been working with the city for the last 10 months on trail research, looking at the benefits of the trail for the community. So the survey was sent out on social media over a period of 2 weeks and asked opinions of trail users about how they felt about the trails. There's a couple of things I wanted to address to the concerns on social media, and one of those was the tax dollars that our trail users spending in Bella Vista as opposed to the neighbouring towns. The survey showed that 83% of the responses were people eating locally in Bella Vista, 23% camped locally, and 47% were shopping locally here. So we had an average overnight spend of $217. The second concern I wanted to address that we've been hearing a lot on social media is that the locals are not using the trails. 80% of the regular users actually live in Bella Vista zip codes. So I know that's a small amount of info because we don't have a lot of time today, but the report is going to be available on the city website next week. So if you guys have any questions about that survey, you want to know any information, I have a report with me.
Thank you.
All right, can you hear me now? Yes. Thank you, Board, for giving this opportunity. All of us, pros and cons. I know, I was up there once, so I know what it feels like to sit in this room. And it isn't easy, and their pay doesn't go up there. So I personally appreciate it. I'm here tonight to just make a few comments that I hope are helpful to the Board and to some of the others in the room. How many of you in this room have been in the village more than 5 years? Well, looks like about half and half. The reason I asked about 5 years is I'm going to talk about trails a little bit. And the history of trails go way back. Some of you have been here less than 5 years have heard some things, and some of the rest of us who have been here, I've been here 18 years, have heard a lot more, and maybe have a little more history. What I just want to talk about, though, is the involvement here with the current construction that's going on in the back 40. Those two projects I was personally involved with because I was part of the Bella Vista Foundation, and we accepted a grant from the Walton Family Foundation to do a master plan. That was our contribution to what you're seeing today in trails. There was about 150 miles of trails that we used a contractor for almost a year to get to the public input on that. We had 2 meetings, one in the beginning and one at the end. We had a survey. We had involvement with public places. I guess my bottom line here is that everybody that wanted to at that point had something to say or a concern that they expressed. And I can tell you, you'll be in our contractor, listen to those. Now, I have to say at the same time, when we did this plan, everybody wanted trails. And I say everybody, there might have been a couple of people that didn't, but it was the impetus was to get it done and not to decide whether we wanted to do it or not. I plead guilty in that regard because when we got enthused about it, we just felt like the trails were the thing to do. They'd already done trails at Bowling Springs, they'd done Mount Longman, they'd done Tandy Creek. People on surveys were saying, we want trails closer to our homes. So that was our goal. The plan had some issues with it. Some of those issues came out of the public forums that we had. We had workshops where people could get to the maps and look at places. This was a plan that was done with kind of, I'll call it a 20,000-foot look. Until you got to the engineering on the ground, you couldn't really resolve some of the issues about my backyard or concerns about being close to the homes and so forth.
Can you wrap it up, Tom?
Pardon?
Can you wrap it up?
Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you. It was a 20-year plan for all 150 miles, which was a long time. In 5 years, we've accomplished, I say we, trailblazers, with money from external sources, have accomplished almost 60% of that, counting what's being built now. However, I have to say, on the maintenance side, you probably have about 10 cents a month coming out of your own pocket. Thank you, Lord.
Randy, Cam?
Did we get a chance to vote on those? Huh?
Excuse me, Randy Ham has the floor.
We did.
Randy Ham has the floor.
You had your turn.
I wasn't talking, I was talking.
I know, but I was going to wait until you were finished. Go ahead. As she said, I'm Randy Ham. I've lived here 4 years. We bought a home chasing grandkids in retirement, which many of you probably have done. I'm here to talk about trails briefly, and I'd like to wear 2 hats. First hat is my volunteer hat. I'm the chairman of the group that maintains Tanner Creek. All volunteers, all retirees. During good weather months, we're out there once a week and doing projects and cleaning up trash. And we all understand that Tanner Creek is one of the places where the public is not discouraged from coming. It's one of the open parts of Bella Vista. Nobody checks your ID card, your membership card. And I can speak for our volunteers in that our attitude is we welcome visitors. We hope that some of those visitors might move here someday. We think that Tanner Creek is one of the most beautiful things we have to offer, and we're proud of it, and we work hard to put our sweat in and keep it nice. My second hat is as an individual. I have walked every inch of the back 40 and Blowing Springs and the trails above Bella Vista Lake, which I understand are not in Bella Vista. Multiple times, hundreds of miles. Had a heart attack about 2 years ago, and they taught me after that exercise is medicine. And so that's where I get my medicine. I'm out there 4 or 5 times a week. Love the fact that the most beautiful parts of our community, which are virtually inaccessible to us until somebody builds a trail, are accessible. And I'll close with this. The fact that it's impractical to gate off those trails doesn't bother me. I've seen people there from all over the country. They're all polite. No one has run me over with a bicycle. They're great, and I'm glad we have them. And I don't know the legalities and the ins and outs of whether we should have voted on it. That I don't know. I hope maybe the board will address that sometime. But thank you for your time.
Rick McGinnis? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Hi, folks. folks. Rick McGinnis. I live in Highlands in the Rothbury subdivision and spent some time talking with Judson over the years. I would like to address a few things that have already been addressed in the past, but about the liability issues we as a POA open ourselves up to by having outsiders, in fact, anybody coming in and using these trails. This is America, and we all know that you're guilty for my negligence. So if I get on the trails and damage myself because the turn was too tight or wasn't marked properly, and I decide that I want the money that Bella Vista has, what do we have in the way of liability insurance to cover that? Second thing, I'm a boat owner, a kayak owner. I have to put a sticker on my boat. Yeah, I have to pay the fees to go on out there and use the lakes, and I enjoy all that. Why can't we have stickers on bicycles? So that pay a yearly fee just like I do with my boat, and then get on our trails. And I know that there's some law enforcement issues, who's going to find them when they're out there without their sticker and stuff. But those are issues that I think we could address. I understand there's a big mountain biking event coming in December, I think, and they're promoting that ferociously, and they're thanking our mayor, Christie, for opening up Bella Vista for the biking event, when I think he has nothing to do with it. I think it more has to do with we, the POA, allowing people to come in and use our bikes. We're sitting on a golden egg down there in Blowing Springs. If we're going to have these mountain biking events, certainly we ought to be charging people to use our venue and then get on our trails. And then we can open that up to vending and everything else and bring more business in town. The other thing I have a real problem with is, because I'm really a cheap guy, is that I pay my POA dues religiously to use POA facilities. I don't like other people coming into our town using facilities that are POA properties without paying. I think it's another important. Since we seem to be having a cash flow issue at the moment, maybe we ought to be looking at maybe putting somebody on sitting in one spot checking trail license stickers or something. Or maybe we need to work on getting a POA promotions committee together to start sponsoring and bringing more events in, but getting money out of these events instead of letting them use our facilities. Thank you very much.
I'll respond to the liability issue there. The trail usage falls under what's called the Arkansas Recreational Use Statute, which absolves us of liability as long as we don't charge fees to use the trails. I don't say that in a negative way. That's one of the requirements of the statute. So.
Next up is Marion Heath. Quiet, please. Sure.
Hi, thank you very much for your service. You're doing something I would never, ever, I'll speak into it. You are doing something I would never do. I volunteer in the community. When we came here, we lived in Hawaii for 18 years. And when we arrived here, we felt an aloha the first day we arrived. Total strangers, they didn't know where we were visiting from, but the embrace was wonderful. And that embrace is still here. I've involved myself in the community by doing volunteer work, being on committees, and interacting with business people. What I value the most are the people here in the community. So I do want to hear from all these other people because they do give us another side to hear from. But here's what my point is. We have the ground rules, and you can tell me the right name of it, but it's the original documents that were written for Bella Vista. Before people even bought land here, you all are very familiar with it. And I know you have an attorney that's on your staff that guides you through all this. It's just common sense to me that you would not go against anything that's written in those rules. And I'm constantly reading on the internet and mainly in the Facebook that we are seeing people blaming the POA for doing illegal things. So here's my suggestion, and I don't know how much you want to take it, but we not only have Facebook to use to get that message out, and you are using your Facebook POA to get a lot of good messages out, but let's put it in the newspaper, and let's address the individual things. I heard it tonight. They're blaming the POA for not following certain guidelines, and the guidelines are things that you folks know. And when I read those guidelines, I don't think I'm the most brilliant person, but I have to tell you, I don't understand it. And so people who are interpreting it are spreading the word in the media, telling them what their interpretation of it is. And I would like to see people who have authority, attorneys know how to read it, and attorneys can give it our translation.
Next up is Charles Lecter, please.
I'm going to pass. I can't be civil, so I get
Robert Stock.
I'm Robert Stock. Hello, everyone. Tom, how are you? My name is Robert Stock. My wife and I have lived here in the village for 23 years. I've taught both of my daughters and their families to move here. I've got 5 grandkids. We use the pontoon boats. We use the trails. We use a lot of things. Bella Vista, I love it. The problem I think people are having is expenses. Last year, golf lost $2.5 million for about 12 or 15% of the population that live here. The trails, they paid what? 0.1%? I don't understand why no one's over here pounding the table and talking about expenses. I've spoken to Mr. Judson on a number of occasions, and he starts every meeting very nice. Everything we do here in Bella Vista loses money. Well, the question is why? Because Mr. Judson allows it. I don't have a voice in that. And I understand being on the POA board, hands down the world's worst job. I mean, I feel sorry for you. No one loves you. Everyone likes to take pot shots at you. But the problem of it is that in 10 years, you're going to lose $22.5 billion in golf alone. 10 years. You have a young guy in charge of golf, pay him $80,000, $100,000 a year. So in 10 years, you're going to pay a guy $1 million to lose $22.5 million. Now, come on. You can say the same thing in the restaurants. They lose $1 million a year. In 10 years, you're going to pay a guy $1 million to lose $10 million. You have to get a handle on expenses. Unfortunately, you people on the board are supposed to be good stewards of the financial responsibilities of the village. But losing money after money after money, the problem with golf right now is $41 to play golf. I play golf. I was a golf course superintendent for 25 years. I can't play golf in the village because it's too expensive. But why is it too expensive? Because you've got probably 3, if not 4 golf courses extra that you don't need. Each golf course right now probably averages about 22,000 rounds of golf from the golfers here in the village. And if you look at the number of golf courses, maintain optimum maintenance standards. But you don't have that here. You've got 20,000 rounds of golf for a very, very select group of individuals that are taking all the money. And I don't understand why, the trails, I don't have a problem with the trails, but they're like 1/10 or 1% of the budget.
Can you wrap it up, please?
I'm going to wrap it up. There you go. So expenses, $22.5 million in 10 years just in golf. Pay a guy $1 million to lose $22.5 million. I mean, if I said I had a company that we need to invest in, would anybody at the table invest in that?
Amen.
Of course you would. You would say they have that great management?
Thank you.
I'm done. Thank you.
This next one, I apologize before I start because I have no idea what the name is. I think it's DUKNS. Let's get that
Yes, I am.
My name is Jim Klinger, and my wife and I moved here in September. So we're new residents, however, we are returning residents. We lived here in 2005 and 2006, and after that, we left for careers and came back to the area as a place to retire. And we did so because we came back and saw what it had become, and one of the primary drivers for both of us were the trails. And what we have found on the trails here in Bella Vista are truly some of the best designed and maintained trails that I've ridden. I've ridden all over the country, and I've ridden in Europe. And these are absolutely fabulous trails and should be something that everyone who gets a chance to and can get out and enjoy, because these are something that are a real gem for the city. And I think it is something that we are having a voice being heard around the country right now by a lot of folks coming to the area that would come here to see the trails. I've come across folks from Washington, Texas, Virginia on the trails as I've been out riding. And we're out there probably 4 to 5 days a week, both of us. My wife primarily hikes and I bike. So I want to just kind of give a thumbs up to the trails and to everything that's being done in Bella Vista, and I think what it's doing to enhance its image around the country. So, thank you.
Next up, we have the Wells family.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wes Wells. I'm here with my beautiful wife, Melissa, Tegan, and Trader. And we're originally here from Montana. We were going to come here just for school. I'm a nurse anesthetist at Mercy Rogers. She's an occupational therapist at a pediatric clinic downtown Rogers as well. We were going to come down here, do school, head back home, but we fell absolutely head over heels in love with Northwest Arkansas. Bella Vista is wonderful. We all agree that the trails are awesome. On social media is there's concern about relationship to where it is with houses. Well, we bought our house on Bloom Springs, and we have a trail in our backyard. We loved it so much, we bought a lot to the left and a lot to the right of it. So we have 3 lots with trails through it. And I want to say we have never once had any negative outcomes from this. It's been wonderful. We've never had strangers on our land. Never felt unsafe with my children outside playing. It's been wonderful. I mean, it's a blessing to my children, to my wife. I have spent 535 hours on my bike this year. Yeah.
I know a lot of people have children or grandchildren, but it's brought our family closer together because we get home and the kids put their bike stuff on. They don't turn the TV on. They don't grab a gaming system. Do we own a gaming system? No. Do we watch TV very much ever? No. TV together, right? To build that for our children, they're getting to have a skill that they can have a lifetime of fitness and responsibility. They trail work. So not only for this younger generation, a lot of them do spend a lot of hours on TV. I'm not going to pull statistics out there, but gaming TV time is huge. And this generation is getting late. We all say that. But the small population of kids that are getting active, we can get them out there. NICA requires 10 hours of service. For those of you that don't know, NICA is a high school competition, and they are a biking team. And so they get out there and they have to do 10 hours of trail work. Every single child on the team. And so they're learning to get out there and work and build a shuttle and build a self-esteem.
Brad Melton. Okay.
Thank you. My name is Brad Melton, and like Roger, I'm also a 23-year resident from Bella Vista, so congratulations to you too. Yeah, hey, that's almost a quarter of a century that we've been Bella Vista residents. Oh my gosh, yeah. So while I'm excited, almost a quarter of a century, right? I want to apologize. I want to apologize to you, the board, and to my fellow POA members that I'm a little ashamed to say this is my very first board meeting I've ever done. And I hope going forward that it's just not myself, and I commit I'm going to be much more involved in the board meetings and all things Bella Vista. But I would hope a lot of my fellow members would commit to that as well. We always see such a great turnout like these. And I also want to thank you, board. I think that's at the top of my mind right now. You all have a very difficult job. And being here like Roger, almost a quarter of a century, you hear a lot of things. You're up against lots of different opinions. And it's difficult to please everyone. And I appreciate your dedication to that. And all those who came before you throughout the years. Thank you. I'm a trail lover. I'm a volunteer helping out with the trails. I get to get out and maintain a lot of this beautiful gift that we've been given. And it is truly a gift. And I thank everyone involved in making those decisions to give us these trails. I understand the concerns that many have, though, as well, how decisions might be made. And I think a lot of that, well, I think nearly all of that has to do with miscommunication, misunderstanding. I have full faith that nothing has been done illegally by the board. I know a lot of people involved in these decisions, and by golly, they don't go running around doing willy-nilly stuff. And I appreciate y'all that for the tough work that y'all do. And I just want to say for a lot of my peers, a lot of my fellow members who have been concerned with things like, it just seems like they don't agree with a lot of decisions that are made over the years, or there's money being lost in a lot of the facilities, whether it's golf or new restaurants and such. I just want to thank you all again, and I think a lot of my peers who have those type of concerns should finally stand up and say, thank you for getting it right. Thank you for bringing these trails that cost us less than 1/10 of a percentage of the entire budget. It's costing to maintain these trails going forward. And it's almost a complete net gain. We're bringing value into this community. And we're not just enjoying it, but there's a tremendous money-making opportunity. And I would wager it's far beyond any other type of benefit that we ever get here at Bella Vista. So thank you for getting it right. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, I have a couple of questions going back to the money. Last month when we were here, we expressed, and with Mr. Judson at the city meeting, we expressed a concern about the board just borrowing money from the water utility. And we expressed that there's not enough transparency between the board and membership about things like that. And yet, we had a meeting last month and nobody mentioned it, and it just shows up on the budget. So I think that that's interesting because, again, it's just no transparency. I don't know what member functions are. Can you tell me what member functions are? That was a line on the budget, and it doesn't seem like anybody knows what that is.
You talking about a line on the balance sheet, member functions?
Yes.
Member functions is money paid to us that hasn't been used yet. So it's just,
Okay.
it's like a potential sale, but right now it's a liability because we haven't got the benefit of the sale yet.
Okay. We needed that clarified because nobody knew what that was.
Yeah.
And I had somebody ask me to just inquire about the stump dump and what's going on with the stump dump. We'd like to there are still people who are having, really hard time in that area with the smell. It continues to burn. We know that ADEQ and the EPA are involved, but people are, Brown's Tree Service specifically has been seen dumping there. So currently, they're still dumping. And so at what point are we going to stop dumping? And at what point are we going to fix the problem? I don't think that the POA has the money to pay somebody, so I don't know, to work with ADEQ or whoever, so I hope our attorney can maybe kind of juggle that around, because we're obviously broke.
Well, no, we're not broke, but let me address the, no, we're not close either. But from what I've been told, I met with the mayor yesterday, Brown's Tree Service is dumping sand to try and control the underground fire. They're not dumping additional material, waste material.
Okay, that's not what people are seeing. So that may be what the mayor is being told, but that's not what the community is seeing happen.
If you are seeing anything, if they are dumping anything in there, I recommend that they contact the city as soon as possible.
Okay, is that what they're going to do, is just dump sand on it to stop the...
That is a question for Brown's Tree Service and the city. The POA is not involved in that situation at all.
Thank you. Leslie Lampo.
Okay, I've heard all this about how wonderful the trails are, and I'm glad that they're just wonderful and everybody loves them. That's irrelevant. That's absolutely irrelevant. The point is not how much you enjoy them, how wonderful they are, how you can get out there and ride them, and how your kids love them, and all that kind of stuff. How they're not watching TV and all that kind of stuff, and they aren't a gift. They're not a gift to us. They're a gift to everybody who doesn't live here, because we're paying for them. They're in our backyards. They're on our common property, and we didn't get to vote on it. That's the issue, not how wonderful they are. Not how great they are to ride, how we beat people from all over the world on them. We didn't get to vote on them. That's the issue. Thank you.
We talked about it at last month's meeting that, it was brought up that there was no vote, and I read from the declaration that, there was no dedication or transfer to the city, so that a vote wasn't required under the declaration.
Excuse me.
I'm responding to it.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
She asked a question, the gentleman's trying to answer the question. It's between these two at this point.
And he's an actor. Aren't we supposed to
At this time, we're going to assume that he's telling it correctly.
Right.
We're going to move on. Mary Scalata?
Mary Shalacy, I live in the Highlands. I was here last month as well, and I asked Ms. Hatcher to clarify the declarations, and I did receive a response. The history of our home purchase is we came up here for about 2.5 to 3 years, every 4 to 5 months, looking at property until we found our house. Our house we purchased in 2012. In your response to me on October 1st, Ms. Hatcher, you referenced a resort destination experience. In all those years of looking for property here, and then purchasing our property in 2012, the words resort destination experience were never said until last year. However, before we purchased our property, we received our government documents. I reviewed all of them. Our declarations are clear. Nowhere are the words resort destination experience in those declarations. They set out the rules that our property is to be used for. Resort also signifies someone paying money to stay here and have guest passes. How does the board equate resort guests to carloads of teenagers from Bentonville, Springdale, or Rogers coming to use our amenities? As for Mr. Cash's response, he also used resort destination, and he tried to clarify the declarations after the dedicated or transfer part. You missed a little bit. It also says, no, quote, no determination as to the purposes or as to the conditions thereof, end quote, without a vote of 51% of membership. You say a license agreement absolves this board of a vote. But isn't that what a license agreement does? It sets out the determination and purpose of property and how it can be used. So there's two parts to our declarations. The members were deserved a vote on this issue. You obviously disagree. You also state the policy change was introduced in 2007, the guest policy. That was the same time the city was voted in. And it allowed the Bella Vista POA to act as a member and sponsor regular guests. How does any member of the public that wants to use our member amenities be defined as a regular guest?
Can you wrap this up, please?
Absolutely. All of this tonight, all of these people here, and all of this contention has been caused by this board. You've torn our community.
Can we wrap this, please?
I will.
You're considerably over your time.
Today, total strangers called me
I'm going to have to
dumbass,
ask you to allow us to have the next person
and
out.
that we were not, and he wanted to vote us out.
Dinwiddie, would you stand? Would you come up, please? She's done talking for this evening. Thank you. Jim, you have the floor at this time.
Thank you. My name is Jim Dinwiddie. We're longtime residents of Bella Vista. I'm here to offer a suggestion on a way to make our trail system revenue neutral. My dad taught me that you never complain about a problem unless you've got a couple of potential solutions. So I'm not a biker. I wish I was. I wish I would have started it much younger in my life. But I do hike the trails from time to time. I'm a golfer, but I have encountered many users of the trails, and I have found them to a person to be friendly, polite, respectful, and an absolute joy to be around. And I welcome bikers and all trail users to our community, and I commend our community for making those resources available. I do feel if we haven't already, we should look into potential ways of making the trails revenue neutral for us and for the city, because at this point in time, as I understand it, we are to pay the annual, our share of the annual maintenance and upkeep costs of the trails, about $35,000 to our budget, $35,000 to the city, as I understand it. And I do not favor trying to enforce or administer user fees to the trails. I think it's unfeasible, and frankly, I don't think it's wise. But one of the things I've not heard us talk about is how we might encourage voluntary contributions or donations to the trail system. And I've done some very tops of the waves, preliminary research into how we might use technology to accomplish this. Of course, a simple solution is to put a cash box of some sort in each trailhead, but that's an invitation for vandalism and theft, and would require manpower resources to collect the cash at the end of every day. It's just not workable. But I think using technology, there are a couple of things that I came across that might be worth looking into, and I'd be more than happy to talk with the board in more particular about each one. One of them is a product called Dip Jar. It's a the product has been available since 2014. It is widely used by nonprofits and for organizations for generating in-person contributions on the spot. It's a device about the size of a roll of paper towels. It's an electronic device. All it is a card reader. And if it was done properly at each trailhead, you could have one of these devices in a small kiosk. All the user would have to do, if they felt compelled to make a contribution to the maintenance and upkeep of the trails, would simply be to slide their credit or the debit card for a specific predetermined amount of contribution. Maybe it's $1, maybe it's $2, no more than $5.
Can you wrap?
Yes, I can. The other one is the utilization of QR codes. Those are those funny little square boxes with the barcodes. There is a way that you can take your smartphone and scan that, take you directly to a page on the Bella Vista website where you can use any number of services like Apple Pay or PayPal to make a contribution. So I think that's something that we might want to look at.
Thank you. Jenny Berkbridge. Jenny Berkbridge. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I did not see you.
Good evening. My name is Jenny Burbidge. Pretty close. I'm Bella Vista.
Right into the mic, if you would, please.
Is that better?
Yes.
All right. My name is Jenny Burbidge. I'm Bella Vista resident, a POA member, and I live on 14 Holloway Drive. And first, I'd like to thank the board for their dedication and service to our community. The effort and the time you sacrifice can't go unnoticed. The improvements in the last 2 years to our facilities, playgrounds, golf courses, they represent your commitment to the growth of local businesses and the quality of life for our residents. With the increased criticism of the board, I'm here to tell you that there are people in our community that truly appreciate everything we do and that support the board. And I'm not the only one. Now to get into a few of the specifics, and I'll do my best to keep these brief. We touched a little bit at the last meeting on using the POA on lots for both. And it's my opinion that the POA on lots should not be used in efforts to meet a quorum. And please,
we're going to discuss that and later this evening.
Perfect. Please correct me if I misunderstood the discussion from the last meeting, but reaching quorum was not a problem in the last vote. And the idea to use the lots as votes was an effort to ensure that the cost of the second election would not be necessary if the quorum was not met. I completely respect the budgetary conscience, but given the vote numbers have not been an issue historically, and that there's a small probability that a 50-50 vote could sway the vote, as alluded to in the last meeting, which you guys can expand on later, I strongly suggest that the board not use the POA on lots votes. In agreement with Ms. King's comments last meeting, the perception of this decision is something to carefully consider. Next, touching on the assessment increase, I can confidently say I will be voting yes for the assessment increase. The material, I want to compliment the materials that you have produced and outreach you guys done to illustrate how the assessment dollars will be used for our village. And it's really exciting to me personally, and I would hope that it would infuse the community. The maintenance and renovations of our existing facilities, along with the new innovative programs, are key to our growth and will increase the POA fee base. Consider our current monthly assessment affordable, and I'm willing to pay the additional fee to help not stun the growth of our community. And lastly, to touch on the trails being open to the public. I'd like to share a perspective of trails that will hopefully shed a different light on their use. The trails that are being built are not small internal loops for a singular neighborhood. These trails are regional paths that connect a bigger community of Northwest Arkansas. Trails are an essential piece in the hierarchy of transportation infrastructure within a community. And with the heavy traffic arteries splitting the middle of our town, these secondary and tertiary paths offer an alternative to help alleviate this congested condition. Trails,
can we wrap this?
Yep, almost done. Trails being part of the city's infrastructure should be open to the public. I believe, and I have seen how trails benefit our community, our children, our mental health, our economic growth, our property values, and I'm a strong supporter of the trails continuing to grow in Bella Vista. And thank you again for your service.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm new to Bella Vista. We owned a lot for about 10 years, but we just moved here about a year ago. And we just happened to come to, I guess, one of your first really rambunctious meetings. So with that being said, I do have a few things that I would like to understand better. Number one is the voting of your lots. And I know you guys postponed it last month, with not being able to reach an agreement. And I really urge you guys, the board members, to reach an agreement. Because until you do, everything else is in limbo.
We're going to issue that, we'll address that issue tonight.
I know you've already said that, but what I'm saying is please come to an agreement.
Okay.
The other thing is I want to say is your improvements that you've done are really nice, but at what expense? I mean, we should do a little bit of improvements, not rank everything. And the biggest concern I had was about the $800,000 that was put on the books. And my biggest problem with that is that last month we were well into September, and Mr. Judson said that by the end of the year he was going to borrow against the water. And I feel that at that time he already knew he had borrowed it from the water, and if he would have been more transparent on that, I think that would have stopped a lot of heartache. Just that little word, borrowed $800,000. That would have been so much ill will towards you, I guess, for lack of a better understanding. And the final thing I had, which was more of a question, is what steps, and I think somebody did address it, but from the board, what steps were taken prior to building the trails to let everybody know that the trails were coming in? Because I just lived in Centerton, and for the last 5-6 years, that every board meeting I ever went to, which I didn't go to everyone, but I went to many, that's what was talked about. So I feel that, did you guys present that? Was it, coming down the street, or did these guys not have any say in it at all? And that's purely a question because I wasn't here.
Okay, we'll address that this time.
Ma'am, earlier, Tom Pyatt was speaking on behalf of the Bella Vista Foundation, but there were community meetings held. Now, I was not here at that time, but I've seen the documentation that there was public meetings held in December of 13, August of 14, and April of 15 to solicit input from the community regarding the trails.
Ken Taylor, please.
What percentage of...
Excuse me, sir, Ken Taylor has the floor.
I know, I'm just asking.
Excuse me, Ken Taylor has the floor.
What percentage of participation?
Could I ask you please to not interrupt other people? You are interrupting. Ken, go ahead.
He was talking as he was coming out.
I'm Kelly Taylor. I live off of Cougar. I have 4 kids, ages 6. I have 4 kids, ages 6 to 16. I help coach a mountain bike team, middle school, and high school, so 6th grade to 12th grade. I just wanted to come here and offer my support for the trails, my family's support for the trails here. Our students support for the trails. We have many of our kids work and volunteer for the team at Key Ridge, but many of our students live here in Bella Vista. And our team has adopted a 2-mile stretch on the back 40 from the Bella Vista Community Church down to the bridge above the stoplight there. That's what we maintain that. It's an awesome. It's a great experience for those kids to get out there and enjoy the trails and give back and help maintain them. So I just want to offer support for that. Again, as we were saying earlier, the idea of having all these beautiful spots in Bella Vista is communal property, and having us be able to access it to these trails, whether hiking or biking, is just a wonderful opportunity for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is Kelly, Losan. Kelly L., okay. As I said, I apologize.
It's okay, my handwriting's bad.
Okay.
It's C-O-W-A-N. Cowan. Okay, I wasn't really coming prepared.
Right into it.
I wasn't really coming prepared to talk tonight, but I've been here a couple of years, and just listening to the things that people have on their concerns and stuff, it seems like a big part of it is the fee portion of bringing in money through the trails and also the voting part. And I haven't read the book, and I haven't read all the way into the mic.
Just a minute.
And I haven't read, I haven't read all the rules and regulations regarding what has to be voted on by the members of the public, so this might be a very ignorant statement. But my understanding is that you guys were put in this position to make a lot of these decisions for us. And so, to me, whether or not we were not able to vote, I feel like there's a lot of decisions made in government that I don't have a say in, but I was able to vote that person into their place. But again, I haven't read the rules and regulations. I think some of the things that could bring more revenue into Bella Vista would be to have increased lodging, because trails and mountain biking is growing in this area like crazy, and there are a ton of events coming into town, and we're really missing out by not having more places for people to stay here and more awesome places for people to eat here. I will admit I haven't made it out to the Lakeview restaurant. It takes me 20 minutes to get there, but you know what? It takes me 20 minutes to get into Bentonville too, so it's really a change of idea of using the things that are local here, and I would like to get more people to do that. Additionally, someone had commented on a bunch of kiddos coming and riding out here. Well, you know, a lot of the kids that ride on the teams in Bentonville live in Bella Vista. This is their school district, and so they are also able to use them. And then the last thing I wanted to say is people were saying about they pay their membership fees and they want to be the ones to use them. Well, I have my picture ID card, but I would be hard pressed to find a resource here that I don't still have to pay an additional fee for. So we're not losing money. The trails are open and it's awesome. It brings people here and people are able to connect that way. And that's all I have to say.
Next up is Nick Hodge.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nick Hodge. I'm a Bella Vista resident for 13 years. So I just wanted to talk to the use case of the trails. We haven't really heard a lot tonight. And that would be just the stickiness of Bella Vista. So somebody who's lived here as long as I have kind of saw Bentonville explode with recreation, amenities, just easy, accessible things. Bella Vista kind of was lagging a little bit. So about 3 years ago, my wife and I were looking to buy our forever home, and we just couldn't find a place to live. Bentonville, we had to move to Bentonville. And then all of a sudden, these trails come, and now we're stuck. We can't leave. So we bought our forever home on Colborne Lane. We'll be here forever, hopefully. So thank you for the support of the trails. Another use case, that guy over there with the white hair, my dad. We got him to move up here from Texas. And now, sorry, I hate this many people. It's hard for me. But my kids can ride their bikes to his house. And just the most amazing thing, this community where we don't have accessible sidewalks, it's hard to get around. They can safely ride to his house on the trails. So it's a good thing for our family, and we appreciate it.
The last name is Weaver, Andy Weaver. Is that close?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Guy Weaver.
We are the Weaver family. We live in Bentonville. We lived here in Bella Vista 5 years ago.
We have
We own 2 lots here only because of the trails, right? And that's the reason we bought the lots. And we are going to build our forever home on the trails because our kids are able to share that.
And so our point is, wherever our lives take us, we will come back to Bella Vista because it's really special. And there's no one we've lived all over the nation and there's no one like it. And we're really proud of the trails. We were proud of Standard Creek when we had friends and relatives visit. We were proud of Glowing Springs. And now we're proud of these trails that we have right now. There's nowhere like it, and I love the direction that Arkansas is going towards. The City of Arkansas State Parks, Siloam Springs, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Bentonville, and now Bella Vista. We all have world-class trails. We volunteer to maintain them. We volunteer to help each other on the trail. Recently, we did have that great national race here. One of the pro riders wrote this great commentary that said there was nowhere like it. Bentonville and Bella Vista, people were helping him. People were friendly. And that's the community that's very special that we love and that will always bring us back.
Next up is Becky Neal. Becky Neal.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, this is really nerve-wracking, by the way.
Right into the mic.
Okay, my name is Becky Neal. My husband is David Neal, and we have lived in Bella Vista now for over 15 years. The reason why we chose Bella Vista when we moved to Northwest Arkansas is because we could afford a lot and still have, without having to buy a lot of property, because we couldn't afford a great deal of property, and we liked that it was private. We liked that the common property was behind our house. We did buy the lot next to us as well to also have that privacy. So I do understand completely the concerns that many people in Bella Vista have, that they moved here, they wanted their privacy, that part of the common property draw was that they did have this, the privacy that they have. And so in my heart, I understand why some people are upset about something that's new that's coming in with these trails and the possibility of them going behind their house. I get it. But also being part of the biking community, I would love to have a trail behind my house. This is our forever home. We've been here over 15 years. We're here in Arkansas. We are the owners of Moses Cycling. I'm also a school teacher in Rogers. And I coach the Rogers Nike team. Because I know the biking community, I know that I'm not at all concerned. As private as I am, absolutely, I would love a trail behind my house because I know that this is not an issue that I would have to worry about. And I also realize that some of the loud minority doesn't represent everyone out there. I do feel that at times people insist that they stay. It's because of this, that they didn't have the vote, the vote that was required. And I don't know enough about it, honestly, to be able to have a say on it, and I admit that. However, some of these same people that insist that that's why they're so upset, they're some of the meanest people with some of the comments that they've made, and it's clear that they don't like bikers. We've had people post a photo of our private residence on Facebook. We've had people say that, we'll accidentally shoot people that are out riding their bikes. It's crazy. And so people that insist this, trust me, I understand. I'm there. I bought in Bella Vista because of the privacy. But, I'm not looking at anyone in particular. But there are comments and there are things that have been posted that
go against what people are actually saying. You know, you can say one thing, but your actions and your words are certainly saying so much more. So, yes, I will wrap it up. Of course, I'm in favor of the trails. I love it. I really like the suggestion of a donation box. What a great idea. Let's bring in some revenue, more revenue to Bella Vista. Thank you.
Your initials are DD and did not have a chance to speak, I would like to please come at this time. If your initials are DD. That was me. That would be you.
David Dixon.
Okay.
My mountain bike nickname is Double D. I think everything that I was going to say has already been said. I love mountain biking. If I didn't, I'm 60 years old. Jim Woody, you're not too old. I'm going to come by and pick you up next Wednesday night ride, and I'll bring a bike for you. If I didn't ride, I'd weigh 300 pounds. I struggle to stay at 200. But that's the fact. I ride hard. Anybody that knows me knows how hard I ride, and I would be a lot heavier. Yeah, so that's all I got to say. Except Brad, how old are you? 67. 67. Brad's 67. He's a rider too. You're not too old to ride. And we have rides every Wednesday nights. Just come on and join us. Look us up fast. Just join us.
At this time, we took care of the 25 people who signed up, and we're going to go ahead and close open forum at this time and move into reports from the advisory committees.